thank you for the opportunity once again to address you. Enjoy the discussion. Always insights to be learned from our anti-doping colleagues. Today, I'm here to tell you about another challenge, integrity challenge in sport, namely that of protecting not only participants but spectators as well. The incidence of violence in sport has many causes, and any one incident is one too many. And unlike the anti-doping movement, we don't have a global regulator, right? Ben spoke about the existence of WADA, the existence of the World Anti-Doping Code. With respect to the safeguarding of athletes, we have really a multi-stakeholder environment with lots of different individuals and organizations that bear responsibility with respect to prevention, protection, and accountability, which are really the pillars of the efforts that we're making at the Gymnastics Ethics Foundation in the gymnastics context. But more broadly, these are the challenges that all sports face. They are being addressed by the international federations, by the national federations, initially much in the way that doping was addressed early on before the creation of the pan-sport entities such as WADA and the ITA. Therefore, they're particularly complex. I often use the analogy of climate change to illustrate the complexity, because like the problem of climate change, the only way we resolve the issue of violence and abuse in sport is through individual action and collective action. And that's what makes it so difficult. It really requires the work of everyone who has a role to play in the sport, and our strategy is based on what we call an ecosystem model. We've mapped out essentially all of the roles and responsibilities that have anything to do with the sport and the various institutions that can have an effect, either positive or negative, in this space. And our efforts are very much based on holding each of these different actors accountable. Everyone has a responsibility here. We can all agree that there must be clear, swift, and consistent consequences for those who violate the ethical boundaries in sport. This not only serves as a deterrent, but also as a statement of our collective commitment to upholding the highest standards of conduct. And of course... Sure, go ahead.
Example, what do you mean by violence in sports? Are you talking about? I can't remember the name now. The Tonya Harding, is that her name? The skater in America who basically ordered an attack on another skater. Or are you talking about when a football player deliberately tackles illegally another player? I mean, what exactly do you mean? What instances are you thinking of?
Those are obviously instances of sport violence, and there are clearly some sports that are more in which some degree of violence, physical contact, however you term it, is almost part of the sport and is almost accepted as such. No, what really concerns us, at least in the gymnastics context, is the safeguarding of participants from abuse, harassment, various forms of abuse, be it sexual, physical, psychological.
We're talking about people like that.
so that is an extreme example of sexual violence, yes. But there is in the sport, as I mentioned earlier, a culture which places a premium on performance, and that performance historically in a number of sports, and perhaps particularly in gymnastics, has to do with, or achieving performance has to do with taking athletes at a very young age and training them in very, very harsh and very demanding environments, which often causes trauma of the kind that really only comes to the surface many, many years later. And what we're realizing and have seen since the Nassar scandal in the United States, the White Review in the UK, similar reviews in other countries, is that it takes a significant amount of time for athletes who've experienced trauma and abuse at a young age to realize that that's what it was and to report it. So and then there need to be independent mechanisms for that reporting to take place, for investigations to take place, and for adjudication. So what the Gymnastics Ethics Foundation does is we provide that reporting mechanism independent of the context of the national sports federations or even of the international federation. We conduct independent investigations, and then we conduct or prosecute, if you will, these cases according to the sport rules. But when it comes to criminal matters such as sexual violence and the like, there obviously needs to be a coordination with state entities, and what constitutes a sport rule or sport rule violation may or may not also constitute criminal conduct.
Alex, thank you very much indeed. It's fascinating. And just a very quick question, because we're running so late, and that's really my fault. I mean, the gymnastics ethics concept. I mean, how do you measure the impact that you're having?
That's an excellent question. It's very difficult to know. First of all, I mean, we know that we're dealing with only part of the problem, right? The tip of the iceberg, the matters that actually get reported to us, or where either through the experience of the victim or a witness. So we realize that there's problematic behavior that's going on that we simply don't know about. We're committed to making sure that every case that we get not only delivers justice for the parties involved in the case, but acts as a catalyst for systemic change. And we see through any case that does reach us whether or not the capacity at the national level is there, and if it isn't, where the problems lie. So it's an opportunity to build that capacity and to create solutions. In terms of measuring our impact, we get a real sense from complainants, from those who are victims of abuse, through dialogue with them, whether the actions that we're taking are contributing to a solution, because that tends to be their primary motivation. When they come to us, they want to ensure that whatever happened to them doesn't happen to others, and that's often part of the therapeutic process that they go through. So they act as a barometer to tell us whether or not we're doing what's expected of us.
Alex, thank you very much indeed. A very important work that you're doing, actually very important, because they are, I think, so many gymnasts are so young. And yeah, good luck to you. Thank you very much indeed for your both interventions. Thank you so much.